Hello everyone, I'm back, and today we are going to talk about an interesting topic. Lately, I saw many comments on the internet how tournaments are so bad. So let's check out the reality. Why should you participate in tournaments? Tell me why. What is a tournament? Tournament is a place where everyone wants to drink your blood and sacrifice your children for 2 victory points. That is the common misconception. The truth is, a tournament is an event where you play between 3 and 5 games and meet with lots of guys and with some girls as well. 98% of the people there are cool, friendly, and it's really a pleasant surprise to play with them. But what about the left 2%? Well, about this 2%, one of them is usually Crazy Terry, a guy who sits in the corner and chewing on his rulebook or on some pickles. Why? Nobody knows, but it is what it is. And the last 1% is that guy. Sometimes that girl, but I've only seen that once. Okay, let's talk about this. Mostly 10 or 15% of the people here are extremely competitive. Usually they're here to play games, either with new people or if you are in the friendly local game store with familiar people. Lots of them have great manners. Since this hobby doesn't have such a huge active player base that the oddities and the rude people wouldn't be noticed. And almost everyone knows everyone, it usually works to be friendly and polite. So don't sweat on that. Even the extremely competitive persons will not harass you or things like that. Many of them see that you are new and even will give you advice. And in best case scenario, they will teach you voluntarily. And that's nice. Okay, if you have the question, why would they teach you? What's in it for them? Having a worthy opponent that is able to provide you with some kind of a challenge. And what's in it for you? Because if you want to play competitively and you want to be better, you have to play against stronger opponents. Okay, but that's it about it. Events, in my opinion, are really great. I met many of my friends there and I have a lot of great memories. Yeah, I have some shitty ones too, but not that many. Okay, now to the question. Why should you participate? In the short version, because it is good for you. Yes, probably the first 1, 2, 3 times it will be out of your comfort zone. But you can play against armies that you are not used to play. You can meet with new people. And you can learn a lot of things. Just one quick thing. I lost many games in the competitive scene. But every time that it was my fault, every time, I learned the thing especially well. Because it stung. But after that, I never forget to place my models right, to make the piling or consolidation moves in the best way possible. So all in all, a great experience. Yes, there is the question. What do you have to do if you get paired with that guy? Usually, you will know when you got paired with them, because as I said, the community is small. So if someone said, "Phew, it's a good thing that I didn't get paired with Stuart." Yes, that can lead to a bad experience. But remember, Stuart is only one of the 50% there. Okay. But what do you have to do in this situation? If you know that your opponent is cheating, or at least you are suspecting it, then you can always call a TO. TO will have extensive knowledge of the rules and will help you out in any situation. Even if you just have a question during the match, because you got into a new situation, it's always great to ask a TO. Tournament organizer for short. Usually, if you call them many times, because your opponent did something bad, they will stay nearby and help you out if needed. So don't sweat on that one. And even if your opponent gets banned because of continuously misusing the rules or dice, well, that's completely on them. Cheating is disgusting. That's it. No further things to add. Now let's go to the next part. How should you participate? There are 2 types of preparation that you have to do. The mental and the physical. However, I don't mean an extensive workout routine for that, more like an inventory management. First of all, let's talk about the mindset. There are 2 types of mindset. The right and the wrong. But who is to decide what's right or what's wrong? Well, since it's my video, it's me. Let's talk about the right mindset first. You go to the event. This is your first event, for example. Have a goal, even if it's just a small one. For example, not lose all of my matches. That is a realistic goal, even if you lose your first matches. After that, you will get paired with guys who also lost their first matches. So usually, the more matches you play, the balanced it will be. The second part in these matches, it is extreme value to learn. You will remember more vividly to these matches than your average matches, because of the adrenaline or stress or something like that. But here you can learn, and if you know your opponent is more experienced, After the game, you can ask what you should have done differently, or just what is his opinion on your playstyle. Usually they will have a constructive criticism, but if someone was an asshole during whole match, well, that guy won't be much nicer after the match. So on that case, skip this part. Third point, that is extremely hard. I suffered from this, at least on my first 2 or 3 tournaments. Don't be afraid from new opponents. Just do your best. Either he or she is also a new player and just as afraid as you, or experienced, so they will chill during the match. So should you. You should know your army, hopefully. Mostly its strength and weaknesses, and it also helps a lot if you know your basic weapon profiles. I'm not meaning every weapon in your army, but at least your basic swords, bolters, or guns all in all. You probably won't know your opponent's army at least half of the time. But when you check them, they are orcs, well they are probably good in melee. If they Tau, they are probably good at shooting. If they some kind of an elf stuff, well those guys are great at magic. Okay, what do I want to tell with this one? Try to force situations where your strengths come out. They are shooting, hide. If they can't shoot at you, then their shooting is meaningless. They have to come close to take objectives from you and things like that. And then you can pounce on them and beat them to pulp. Yes, sounds easy and every game will be different, but try to do this. Sometimes it will work out wonderfully. Sometimes it will be a great match and you will win or lose by a small margin. In worst cases, well, you will lose a lot of models. However, from that comes the most important part. Try. Yes, sounds like a horrible motivation in a speech, but try. Even if you lose, try to get as many points as you can. In my last tournament, I obliterated the army of a Blood Angels player in the first 2 turns. But man, that guy was a beast, I guess. He almost beat me at the end of the match. It was 95 to 92 and I just won by a bit of luck. He played so very well, I can't even tell it to you. If you are hearing this, sir, hats off to you. I think you know who you are. Okay, in short version, you can learn, you can meet friends and mentors, you can have amazing matches, just most importantly, try. And for the first time, do not set the goal too high. Edit. I forgot one thing. Have a plan. Every time when you make an army, you can pick your favorite units, but have a plan. This is extremely important. You can play meta armies, and that's okay completely, but I usually try to skip them and try to make up a list in my head. Sometimes it works well, because your opponent can't count with your list. Everyone is prepared to a meta list because it is good. However, if you can provide different things, many of the people don't know what to do. My previous army list was based on to never give an optimal target. You can attack things, but not optimally, so you will do much less damage. Something similar like that, but it doesn't have to be that one. You can be either counting on fast charges, great shooting and hiding. Just have a plan. Okay, let's talk about the wrong mindset. There are many things in that one. Many sins. Let's talk about this one. Just like the meme. When a guy goes with his bicycle, puts something in the wheel and flips over and starts crying. What do I mean on this one? Bringing subpar or even worse army list, bringing bad units. Before you start crying elitist, I doesn't mean that you cannot and you should not bring units that are not considered good. I'm meaning bringing an especially bad army list to have yourself an excuse. Yes, I got defeated because of my army is not as good as yours. Feel free. But being a victim of your own crimes, it's just kinda lame and nobody will take you serious. Bringing bad units is a little bit different. For example, Reavers considered to be bad in 8th and 9th edition. I found a purpose for them and it worked out just fine, at least for me. Yes, it's a little bit cloudy explanation. Let me try again. You can bring bad units, you can bring suboptimal units, but if you have a purpose, a plan for them, and they can execute that plan, then they are not bad units. So bring whatever you like, but have a purpose for those models. But let's be honest, if your army doesn't have a synergy in any shape or form, then probably your army list is weak. Not always, but most of the time. The next part of the wrong mindset, using a net list. It's just like copying someone else's homework. You don't have the knowledge for that, so it's especially worse if you just copied the list and didn't even try it. If you copy a list, at least try it. You will know what you can expect from the units, damage-wise, survivability-wise, and you can plan ahead much more. Also, if you tried and you saw that many of these units are not really good for you because of the different playstyle and things like that, you can switch them out. And then, maybe it's still a nest list, however, it is refined. And refined lists are much more welcomed. It is better for your playstyle. your opponent at least has some kind of a versatility, opponents-wise at least. And all in all, both of you will have a better game. Man, I just had a Vietnam flashback. Once when I went to a tournament and the Thousand Suns were really strong, the first 3 matches was against 3000 Sun armies. Maybe the difference was the number of the Forge Fiends and the Terminators. But all in all the same list, the same heroes, the same units, maybe a little bit different weaponry, but not that much. So yeah, that also can lead to not as good experience in my opinion. The last 2 parts, one of them is Rage Quit. There is something really cringe in that one. I can feel you in that part that the match is not going your way. It sometimes happens with me as well. In that case, I try to play my best and make up some kind of personal objective for me. Maybe slaying an enemy warlord, or catch that especially nasty mage, or things like that. Try to play, because many of us are working and doesn't have much time. This is where we can let off some of the stream. Remember how good it feels to win. It's sometimes bad if you win by a landslide, but that's another case. So remember how well does it feel to win, and don't take it from your opponent, unless he's especially nasty towards you. Then it's understandable. One story time. There was this guy, let me call him Baby Rage Magnus. He played Thousand Suns. None of his spells went out. It was an especially bad psychic phase for him. In the 8th edition, there was a different phase for psychic abilities. Okay, so none of his spells went out, even with Magnus, because he's really great and strong with magic. So yeah, understandably, he was a little bit frustrated. After that, he wanted to attack my friend's army. However, he can't really reach them. Only a couple of cultists. He attacked cultists, killed maybe a half of the unit of hobos, so nothing important, and that's it. After that, Magnus was there, standing in front of a whole army, and you can expect what happened in the next turn. The cultists just fell back, and everything shoot him to pieces. He died, and Magnus was almost half of the army. So when that happened, the guy who owned him grabbed the model with full force, threw him into his backpack, the wings, the weapons, everything just broken. He got the other models from his army, everything to his backpack, threw it on his back and went home. It was yikes. So if you do some kind of thing like that, well, it's a small hobby, so you will be remembered. That is not a winner mentality. Quick note, I'm not bullying this guy, but he does this kind of thing almost in every month, but in at least in every second. I will not share more stories, because I think that would be bullying. But that was the first thing that I met in the hobby that was weird. Like the raging Call of Duty kids. And the last thing. This will be controversial, or not, I don't know. But blaming the dice. Yes, the dice can go really sideways. Sometimes when you have to make all of the saving throws, you make 13 saving throws without failing any, and your commies are tanking Lionel Johnson. That is okay. But also sometimes can happen that an orc Ardboy beats up 10 of your magic elves and takes your objective. Not likely, but can happen. Since it's a dice game, not an Excel sheet, these kind of things can happen. You can be sad about them, you can be mad about them, and that's completely okay. But sometimes the dice will tell a different story than the reality should indicate. So if you get a place when you can win a match, if you roll a 2+ on a d6 and you roll a 1, that can be disheartening. I know. But think like this. If you played this match 600 times, you would have won in 500 times. So in 80% of the matches. I'm not saying, yeah, pat yourself on the back because you played good. Yeah, you should have won in every case and you are flawless and things like that. But you know, I, as an internet stranger, am really proud of you because you played the game really well. You get to the point when it was only a game of chance and it favored you by a really big margin. And that's a great thing. Sometimes you have to make a gambit and in many cases you will win and in some cases you will lose. That's life. But the most important, you can learn from these things, either by losing, either by winning. But as the last point, I should mention it that you should also learn from your victories. Trust in yourself. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I am here to help, and I especially like to help people who are interested in the hobby. If we are here at helping, you can help out a great deal by liking, subscribing, and even commenting. Because if you show me that what I do has some kind of a value to you people, it makes me happy and motivated. Okay. Let's go to the last part. the physical preparation. First of all, what do you need? You need your army. For your army, you need an army list. I recommend you printing at least 3. Have one at yourself all the time. Give one to the TO and give one to your opponent, if he or she needs it. That's just basic sportsmanship. Let's go to the inventory management. What else do you need other than your army? Dice, measurement stuff. What else do you need? Nutrition and motivation. You need the nutrition that we already talked about. I recommend you 1 bottle of water, 1 bottle of isotonic sports drink or something with caffeine. Usually drink this during your second match. At least that's how I do. And if the tournament is longer, drink the second one at your 4th match. Okay, food. Usually I will eat a big burger and some fries before the first match. And take some granola or energy bars that I can eat between matches. But you can survive with any kind of food. However, the last thing that you want is to stand in lines between your matches. You can also bring some laser measurements and other tools that can improve your life, but not necessary. However, one more thing that I should add. Always take at least 1 painkiller with you. If there is less air or big noise and your head hurts, well, that won't help your performance. Also, you can give it to other participants. Motivation. Usually you can do this by looking at your models. You can do it by music. Go listen some kind of music that pumps you up. Or not just music, a great story can be also good. And the last part of the motivation. Just realized how awesome you are. You made that great step to go into the unknown. Fight with terrible things. Make great stories. Many of the people are too afraid to do this big leap, but you've done it. Last quick thing to note at the end. You can win in many categories. You can win in friendliest player. You can win by most beautifully painted army contest. You can win just by matches. And sometimes there are the specific titles. For example, the Slaughterer. You killed the most number of models, or you killed the most points from your opponent's army during your matches. That is also a fun title to own. Mostly that's it. However, I can also recommend you, if your friendly local game store has these kind of events, you can go to Combat Patrol, small events, or for example special events. These are also great fun, and in these type of events much less dead guides, because these are not conventionally competitive, however amazingly great fun. So I also recommend you these ones. Last time we had a Halloween event where there was chances for demons to appear, there was a warp storm and you had to get into the middle of the table because the storm was too strong and things like that. So those are also amazingly great. 10 out of 10, you should try an event. In 95% it will be good, or at least good for you. Sometimes bad things can happen, but usually that's not the case. All in all, you will have great fun against people who also like the hobby, and you can see and play against amazing armies. So to all of you wonderful people who stayed here, thank you for bearing it with me. I really wanted to make a video on this topic a long ago, but didn't have the emotional fuel until now. So thank you all. Thank you for watching, listening, liking, commenting,